Alrighty, folks. Today is a day I have been looking forward to for a couple of months. I just want to remind people how this boot camp came to be. I think it was 3 months ago now. I went to a local meetup, which I always love to do. I love to speak to everyone. But really, we go to the Q&A, and a lot of people were like, hey, how would you do it today? How would you get started? There was lots of questions, and we really got into understanding, how to pick a market, which is not something I've done a lot. So this idea for recording a 10-day boot camp was born. We did a day zero kind of intro. Today's day one, talking about markets. The whole goal of this is to get interaction from the audience. So the first thing I will ask all of you to do, as we talked about in the intro, is if you don't have a market, please use the little hand icon below. So I want every one of you that don't have a market, and based on day zero, that's like 12 or 13 of you. I want you to raise your hand because I want to go through each and every situation. You all have unique situations. You all have unique questions. And at the end of it, I don't know if we'll get to a point of picking a market for you, but at least we'll give you some action items to say, okay, at the next meeting, I owe Michael and the team the market I'm going to research. So that's what we'll do for the first section. That will probably take 45 minutes. It might take an hour, but we're going to go for 2 hours because after that is over, I'll take any and all questions. This is our time together. Whatever, if it could be something that I'm going to cover in week 10, but if it's important to you today, because everybody is at different points, I want to make sure our entire time is worthwhile. So now let me give my little preface to picking markets. When you're picking markets, there's a lot of folks that are just instantly say, I can't invest in my backyard, so I'm going to a cheap market. I understand that. Frankly, if you look at my story at 10,000 foot level, you probably think I did that, which is not true. What I did in like 2000, once I got my butt kicked in the stock market, if you remember the full story, I spent 52 weekends, 52 Sundays to be specific, looking in the Bay Area, which is where I live. We were trying to find the magic street that produced cash flow because we were not comfortable betting on appreciation. While I learned my market, I also learned the skill of learning a market. I think for most folks, it is more important to do things with repetition, walking through properties, meeting people face to face, learning your area, and then maybe going to a market. So for a lot of folks, I think it's a two-step process, if that's what you're thinking. Because what that allowed Olivia and I to do once we said, hey, it's not working here, there's no cash flow, are we going to give up? And of course, the answer is no. We found Fresno, California. And we learned Fresno much, much faster. So that's my story. I think that's right for a lot of people, but not everyone. So again, if you don't have a market yet, or even if you think you have a market, I want you to raise your hand. And if you are like, hey, no, this is my area, I'm here, I know it, cool. We can go through this, we can help folks. But again, even if you're like, hey, I think I got a market, you need to raise your hand. I'm going to go top down the list that I see. Michael is going to be first, Catherine's next, Daniel. I'm not sure if you guys are seeing the same thing I'm seeing. I'm just kind of giving you a view of the order. So everybody okay with that? Thumbs up. Awesome. All righty, Michael, go ahead and unmute yourself, brother. You're up first. Remind folks where you're at, give a little intro, maybe a minute, and then we'll get into your questions and all of that.
Sure. I'm in Central Texas. I'm about an hour east of Austin and about an hour west of Bryan College Station. Real centrally located. I can get to Dallas, San Antonio, Houston, Austin, all within 2.5 hours or so.
Okay.
I'm a director for a tech company, so that's what I do for a living. And I don't have a market set yet, kind of like what we talked about before, Michael. I'm leaning towards Bryan College Station because I would prefer my market to be within an hour and a half drive of me so that I could check up on it, drive it, do it fairly conveniently.
Yep.
I'm like you. I don't believe in, the grass is always greener on the other side type stuff.
Yeah.
Chasing markets and a new market every week. I'd rather just get one that I can really work on and stay in.
Okay.
And the reason I kind of chose that market is I set some parameters up. I don't know how smart they were, but I wanted a city with over 100,000 population. I
Like it.
wanted a median home price of under 500,000.
Okay.
Some things like that, just because of the amount of money I want to put down and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm open to having my mind changed. Bryan College Station kind of fit those parameters because it had 300,000 people and the median home price was like 290 or 300, something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, but if that doesn't work, I'm obviously open to changing. It's just my initial thoughts.
No, so again, I like the criteria, right? 100,000 is a good number. When I chose Fresno, it was 500,000 was my threshold, but 100 grand is a lot, is a good number. I think if you're picking a market less than 20,000, it's going to be tough because there's not enough
Right.
activity.
Yep.
Um,
And it's a
I
college town. That was another thing. I wanted something that would draw people to it. And
yeah, when
Texas A&M is right
recessionary,
there.
right? Right.
Right.
It's a recessionary town. Um, I guess again, I'll do this with everyone. You're just up first, Michael. Tell me about the market where you live. Is that just a little town, or like how
So
big
I
is
live
that?
on a see. I live on a cat. I'm a rancher. Is
Okay.
kind of what I have besides my
Hmm.
9 to 5. I live on
Okay.
a ranch in the country. So
Hmm.
my town is like 5,000 people,
All
4,000.
right. So too small. Too small.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We're
All
a baby. And the
right.
two closest uh cities that are over 100,000 is Austin, which is in the millions now,
Yeah.
and Bryan College Station, which is like up to like 350,000.
Uh, I think you've got the right one. I mean, the only other thing I'm thinking about is, do you have? I mean, and you may not, which is totally fine. You just got to know going in. Do you have any connections or referrals or network there, or will that be part of the? That's what you'll be building. Do you know
I
anybody there?
have, well, not really. I have a title company that I have used to close a wholesale deal with there.
Okay.
Um, that and a lady that I worked with through that whole process, and she's put me in touch with other investors, but I
Nice.
wouldn't say I have any type of solid network built there yet because I'm just getting back. I did real estate from 2003 until 2007, and then I
Hmm.
did loan mod for like 6 months, but it was like pretty shady work, so I didn't want to do
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it made me feel disgusting. So,
Yeah.
that and my broker would never tell me what was going on. I'd bring these people to them that I would sell, and it was
Yeah.
like smoke and mirrors type thing. So I got out of it. But anyways,
Yeah.
I haven't been in real estate since, so I don't really have. And I was living in Southern California at that time. I was in Orange County,
Hmm.
so in Southern Cal. So yeah, I don't have any type of network built up there yet.
Well, congratulations. You're going to have a network built up in the next couple of weeks. The thing I would challenge you with, Michael, you're a sales guy,
Yes,
is
sir.
I think for you, I think you want to get to meet, and by meet, it could be over the phone or virtual. It doesn't have to be in person. Um, I would try to meet those 4 investors, right? You already have a title company. I would try to get referrals to a couple agents. Let's start surrounding College Station with folks that are in the business. I think the most important thing for all of us, if we're picking a new market, and let's be clear, I think I've been honest with everybody. I'm going to likely build a brand new market in Vegas. It might be Henderson, it might be Vegas, but I'll just say Vegas proper. So this is myself included. I need to find 3 local investors that are really doing what I want to do. So the thing that I'll task you with, Michael, is in the next week or so, I would love for you to at least get the names. You maybe not have had that first contact yet, but let's work to get 3 names. Let's start to talk to agents. I think your market is College Station. I think you got every box checked. So now you don't look at other stuff. For the next 90 days, the answer is College Station. Don't get distracted. Don't do Houston. Don't do San Antonio. We're trying to learn a skill, and you don't learn to play golf by practicing baseball, or you don't learn golf by trying to play basketball. You're trying to learn the skill. So the answer, Michael, in my opinion, and everyone here is, okay, it's College Station. I'm going to go figure it out. You can do all the research you want on College Station. You can look up crime and school, whatever you want to look up. College Station. As soon as you get a squirrel that goes left to another city, shut it down. That's not okay. You feel me?
Yeah, we call that shiny object syndrome.
There you go. No shiny objects for the next 90 days. If you
And
want
you
to
said
go,
the homework was three investors to make
I
contact
want
with
you
three
I want
investors.
you to have three names. Yeah.
Okay.
Three names. And if you're a sales guy and you get that done by Wednesday, try to meet an agent. We're trying to surround it, because what will happen when we go forward is, again, this is what I had never been to Fresno, California, except one drive when I was 13 to go to Yosemite. Once we chose Fresno because it was on a map and it met our criteria, I had to create, I don't know, 80 conversations to find the Mayfair, right? The Mayfair District, 93703. I had no idea. I didn't want to shoot blind. So I talked to probably 75 or 80 people, and not all of them picked the Mayfair. Some of them picked this, some of them picked that, but that was the one that was picked the most. And then that will be our second conversation, day 2, about a buy box. But first, we got to get around, College Station. You good? Awesome. So you can go ahead and put your hands down. And if you don't know what the hands are for, I saw a comment. I want to hear from you. If you don't have a market, if you think you have a market but aren't sure, raise your hand. I'm going top down the list. Next up is Catherine. Hi, Catherine.
Hi, Michael. Hi, everybody. This is my husband, Rod.
Hi, Rod.
He's my partner in crime. And we live in the very, very outskirts suburbs of Portland, Oregon. I add the very, very outskirts because we don't love Portland. We do like the outskirts very much. I do. He's not as keen. He's not a drizzly weather person, but I don't mind. The summers here are beautiful. I am a real estate broker here in Oregon. I'm also a licensed broker in Nevada. Although my license in Nevada is inactive, I can reactivate it any time. So we have considered a couple of different markets. The top 2 markets we've considered. Clearly, the number 1 market is the greater Portland area. Because I'm licensed, I think that would probably lend itself to maybe finding deals more easily. Certainly because it would give me access to vendors and so forth more easily. Sure. And I know the market here, so I know what's a good deal, what's not a good deal more easily. However, we believe, and because I've, in some of my CE classes and so forth, I've learned about some of the landlord laws here. Not good.
No, it's one of the most egregious states.
Very. Oh, it's awful. To try to get a tenant out some of it's just dreadful. So
and getting worse.
Yes. And so Rod is scared to death to think about investing here.
Probably not a bad concern.
Okay. So, and
I think Rod might be onto something.
Right? Which is unfortunate because here we are and we'd have all the access and everything. So
let's point it, let's scratch that a little bit. Again, what I'm trying to help you and Rod and really everybody on this call and everybody I speak to every day is real estate investing is a skill. And what I hear you saying, and again, push back, is I think I could learn that skill the best and fastest in Portland or whatever the little town might be called. That's great, right? Once you learn how to play golf on the driving range in your local putt-putt area, you can go play anywhere.
Right.
So many folks, the answer is I'm going to research my backyard. I have access. I have a relationship. I'm known, because that will be a faster turnaround time. And you'll figure out where the bumps are in the road. Now, at the end of 90 days, like sitting there right now, you and Rod, you might feel like that's a waste of time. Like Michael, okay, great. I'm going to learn what a great deal is in Portland. I'm going to build this network. But at the end of the 90 days, I'm not going to buy here. That's a complete waste of time. No, you're trying to learn the skill like Olivia and I did. Now, it took us a year because I'm just that hard-headed. But I was able to learn Fresno in like 60 days. 45 days. If you try to go to a market where you have no relationships, no experience, you've not been there, you got to travel there, it could take a long time. I would not have been able to learn Fresno, California if I had chosen that day one. It would have been too far away, too many drives, all of that stuff. But because I spent a year, and I'm not saying it's going to take a year, it should be 3-4 months. Learning the next market was like, oh, I got this. So I think I think you have a clear path, in my opinion. I'm going to learn the skill in my backyard. I got the experience, I got the access, I have the contacts. We're not going to buy here because of the landlord law scares us out or scares us. But you know what? We're going to focus here. And oh, by the way, because I've been here forever, you might even know what zip code is the best already or what area of town.
Right.
That jumps you forward like 3 steps. So I think a lot of folks, it's like, hey, I got a network here. I got some, but you know what? I don't really want to invest here. I'm not telling you to invest there. I'm telling you learn the skill there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is the second market before I took a right? Do you want to share the second market?
Vegas.
No, there we go.
Well, we lived there. We lived there before we moved here.
Okay.
And I was licensed for real estate there, and my license is on ice, but I still have many real estate friends there that could assist me as well. And I also still know the area very well. So that could be our backup plan if we want to practice there alternatively, because we do know that area well also.
Now, how long when did you live in Vegas last? Are we talking a couple of years or like a decade?
Almost a decade.
Yeah.
8.5 years.
Yeah. So again, you're free to choose.
2 years.
I'm sorry. Did I miss something from Rod?
Oh, he was just saying we lived there until 2.5 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah. So, I think the answer is you learn the skill in your backyard. But again, if you're like, no, Michael, that's going to be a waste of time. We're not going to buy here. Rod won't sign on the dotted line. It's a complete waste of time. Let me go reinvigorate my Vegas experience or my Vegas. That's okay. That's just going to be slower. And it's not that you won't learn the skill because you do have some foundation.
Yeah.
It just won't be as fast.
Yeah.
But again, Vegas and Portland or Oregon are very different. I think the two of you have to come to an agreement because you can't learn both. It just it'll mess with you.
I 100% get that part. Yes. And we may end up doing Vegas because Vegas would be a consideration. And I do know the area.
Okay. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Looking up properties would be like looking at the back of my hand.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good clarity. Thank you.
Does that make sense? Good.
Yes, sir.
Rod, do you have any questions?
Not at this point. No, thank you.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right. Thank you, Catherine and Rod. Next up is Daniel. By the way, can you guys see the list that I see? So like you guys can see the order? You can? Okay, cool. All right. I didn't know. Daniel B.
Hey, Mike.
Hey,
everyone. Good morning. All right. So quick intro about me. I'm in Orlando, Florida. Currently a supervisor for a credit card company. I run a virtual team out of the United States. Been doing that for about 8 years. Real estate is completely new to me. At least real estate investing, right? I bought a condo, became a landlord accidentally, and it started generating cash flow, right? And
it's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing at all. So we just had our daughter, and she's 8 months old, and it started just getting me thinking a little bit more past my 40s. I'm 36, and 50s, and I'm like, hey, I need to start working on something that could, give us a better life for her and for her family. So started doing a little bit of research, found Pace Morby. Somehow I came across you in an interview. And this is, I'm talking like weeks ago, right? And completely loved it. Started doing a lot more research, but I'm completely new. I'm in Orlando, Florida. I don't have a market. I started taking your course, and I'm just like, this is all brand new to me. So it's a little bit intimidating with all the questions that you're getting, because sometimes I'm like Googling what's the term, what's all that. But I'm trying to stick in there and say, hey, I'm going through my learning process. But that's me.
That's very cool. Well, Daniel, a couple of things. First and foremost, I want you to hear me. Everybody starts where you were. It was all new to all of us. Nobody is born being a great real estate investor, right? You're not born. Not even the great legendary Pace Morby was born understanding this stuff. So we all have to climb that mountain. So first, kudos to you for being here and all of that. So let's talk about it, right? You're brand new. You got excited.
Yeah.
You get this guy. He's talking about a buy box, talking about average deals, good, great. You're like, all right, I get it. Let's dive in. Let's start this. So Orlando is a big town, right? Orlando's got to be 1 million some odd people. Very big, yeah.
Yeah.
So the good news is I think you already have a market. You're going to learn Orlando. You may not invest there, as we've talked with others today, but I think there's a pretty good chance that Orlando is going to be your market. And, even inside Orlando, there's got to be good and bad areas and, all of those things. So congratulations, you have a market. It's Orlando. The next thing you need to think about is, and just to tease it is, and this is what I did in Fresno, right? Because again, if you don't know my story, right? I live in Mountain View. We spent 52 weeks looking in the Bay Area. It couldn't happen. My wife says, who's Olivia, much smarter than me, I'm not doing this anymore. She pulls out a map. We find Fresno 2.5 hours away. But then I spend, I don't know, what was it, 45 days trying to figure out where. That's where you are. So what I would do for you is great. It's Orlando, but we got to now, Daniel, figure out what part. Telling somebody I have a buy box in Orlando, California, where'd that come from? Orlando, Florida is not helpful. It's way too big. So what I would tell you to do, and the good news about Orlando is there's lots of investors. You could probably even go into our private Facebook group and ask, hey, who invests in Orlando? Or, and your job is to be curious. Where are people at in Orlando? So that's where we have to go with you, is like what part and why. And the other thing I would ask everybody is, what parts of Orlando do you not invest in? Because that's an important list too, right? I always talk about talking to 75 people and picking Mayfair, but there was also this zip code 93706. I forget what they called it, but they're like, don't go there. And like everybody said, don't go there, war zone. So figuring out where everybody thinks is good, but also where everybody thinks is bad, just be inquisitive. I would probably go on social media and just look like Orlando Realtors or you've got to figure out, trying to build a team of experienced folks. That's where you're at. Your job is, hey, you got to market Orlando, but what part, what area? That's where I would turn my focus to. Does that make sense?
It does. And that's, I guess, the part that gives me a little bit of anxiety, right? Because in my intro, I tend to pick up things very quick, right? And I don't mind doing the work, but I don't like not knowing what questions to ask, right? So if I go and say, hey, investor, or hey, real estate agent, because in Orlando, you'll find one at every corner.
You swing almost, a stick and you hit one. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How do I guess, not only look at what I'm trying to do, right? But I guess just how do I figure out what to ask? Like
so here, let's do a virtual call. I'll be you for a minute, and you're an agent, right?
All right.
So ring. Pick up the phone, Daniel.
Yes. Hello.
Hey, Daniel. Hey, Daniel. This is Mike Zuber. How you doing?
Doing well. How can I help you, Mike?
Well, hey, Daniel, I saw that you had a property listed at 123 Main Street. I'm on realtor.com. I'm looking around for some rental properties. I'm trying to be an investor. I came across your listing, and I had these things that I think are interesting. What can you tell me about the area? I live in Orlando, but I'm not sure where to invest. What can you tell me about your listing in the area? Yeah. No, so I guess what I'm trying to highlight there is you don't pick up, you don't call someone and go, hey, I'm Daniel, tell me everything. Yeah. You call with a specific listing, a specific question, And once you get those initial conversations, that conversation should probably go 10 minutes. And again, be honest. I'm a brand new investor. I live in Orlando. I'm an accidental landlord. I'm getting cash flow. I want some more. I have a daughter. I want to, tell people like you did in your intro. Don't hide that.
Yeah.
Right. Make it your power, and then tell them, I'm going to buy another one, but I'm trying to find the area. Where should I and shouldn't I look? And then if you click, because again, you're in Orlando, you may start on the phone, but then you'll meet these people. Ask for referrals. Yeah. Say, one thing I know I have to do as a brand new investor is I have to meet more people. Do you have a contractor you like? Do you have a painter? Do you have other investors you work with I can ask questions? You're going to build this little spider web by just being a good human being. Right? So that's where I would start. And you'd be amazed.
Good, yeah, I like that.
Okay. Real estate agents are commission-based, right? So what they don't like, they have a radar or I guess it's radar. Like they get a call, you pick up, say, hey, I'm Michael, I want a deal. They're like, click, you're a newbie, you're not going anywhere. But again, if you call on a listing, you have specific questions about their listing, that conversation can go lots of different directions.
Okay. Good. And so the other thing, and this is just to wrap my head around the timeline. My problem with me is I'm very analytical, right? And usually I want to get things quick. And it just kind of seems like with this type of investment, I got to slow down. Kind of like you just answered in one of the previous questions, right? You didn't find Fresno until you did the work in some other place for a while, right? It's the time, and I wrote to you in my intro, I hope I can get a deal in 10 weeks, but it's starting to set on me that I may.
I hope you learn the skill in
give
90
myself
days.
Time. Yeah.
Okay. What I'm trying to give you is the skill.
Okay.
So let me ask you this, Daniel. I'll get to your questions, but I want everybody here. Daniel, have you ever picked up a new sport, learned a second language, or played an instrument?
When I was younger, yeah.
Yeah. So how did you do those things?
Practice.
Practice.
Just
little coaching.
Getting there with people that are doing it. Yeah.
You didn't pick it up in a day. You got a little better in a month. You got a little better after that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm really trying to highlight here. I'm trying to give everybody the ability to learn the skill. And then once you have the skill, you can take that anywhere. I don't promise a deal. I promise getting you to a point where you can write a great offer, which is probably below market price. But that's where I'm trying to get you. So lots of people get into real estate investing. I think if you know my story, I'm over analytical, right? I live in a spreadsheet. I thought the answer was a spreadsheet. Daniel, the answer is not a spreadsheet. I'm sorry, it's not the spreadsheet, right? My first spreadsheet was multiple tabs, depreciation schedules, principal pay down schedules. Nonsense. It's a people business. Follow up, follow through, surrounding yourself with good people. Spreadsheet's important, but it's not sophisticated.
Yeah, that's good. I just need to reset my mind for that. This is a process, multi-month, possibly even a year process until I can find something of value. I just got to give myself more time, I guess. Yeah.
I would tell myself in 90 days, I want to be able to articulate to this group what an average deal is in some pocket of Orlando. If you can answer that question, you have unlocked the secret of real estate investing. Everyone can do an average deal. Most people have no idea what an average deal is, so they buy bad ones. It takes time to learn a language, to learn an instrument, to learn golf, to learn real estate investing. This is not a 7-day get rich quick thing. This is a 60-day, 90-day repetitive motion. And then at one point, there'll be a light bulb moment that goes, an average deal in this pocket of Orlando is a 3.7% yield. I get it now. And then once everybody knows average, the world is open. Because what I do, simply said, is I take average and I add 1.5% for good. So what 3.7 would be 5.2 and 3% for great. So whatever the next one is, 6.7 or whatever it is. You don't learn great deals. You learn average and then you add on top of that. So yeah, you have to give yourself time, but you also must hold yourself accountable. You have to hold yourself accountable. Once you get a buy box, you are looking at that darn thing every day. Right? We're not there yet. That'll be day 2, kind of day 3 conversation. Your job over the next week or so, Daniel, is to figure out where in Orlando we want to focus on. Because like we said earlier, I forget who started us off. I'm sorry. Michael, I think it was. You got to get that market so that you only look at that part of Orlando, because just like Michael, who was looking at College Station and I already forgot the other one, Dallas or whatever it was, you can't look at 2 things. You can't look at, that part of like North Orlando and South Orlando. You'll get confused.
Yeah. So
that's where you need to go. Is you need to talk to a dozen folks, figure out where in Orlando to invest, where not to invest. So that's your homework.
Okay, good. Yeah, I don't mind making calls. So I'll definitely, that gives me a really, so I tend to be, again, very analytical. I tend to dive on one thing and try to learn as best as I can. So I'll make a few calls and hopefully I have some, I will have some more information to give you once for day 2.
So let's get, so I get a feeling that you like to under promise and over deliver. So I'm going to do with you what I would do with one of my sales guy who I think that is. You not only need to make a few calls, you need to make 10 calls, right? Give you a number. I want you to go on YouTube and figure out 3 YouTube channels that are Orlando real estate agents. I want you to go to Bigger Pockets and figure out some Orlando forums or whatever they have these days. I want you to immerse yourself in people doing deals and work in Orlando. This isn't about, hey, I'm going to make 4 phone calls and do my work. No. Daniel, you like to be analytical. You like to do work. You like to learn fast. 10 phone calls, 3 YouTube channels, and a couple of Bigger Pockets forums. You feel me?
Okay. I got you. Nice. Yeah, you got it.
All right.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
All right, buddy.
Thank you.
No problem. This is awesome. Paul, you're up next.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, Paul.
Let's see. I live in Sierraville, California, which is north of Truckee, California.
Okay, yeah.
Truckee, Lake Tahoe are close markets to me, very overpriced.
Yeah.
I'm looking at somewhere around Reno, Nevada.
Okay.
I'm a general contractor and I would love to buy properties that I can do the rehab work on.
Okay, I like that. All right. So how far is Reno from you? It's like, what, 45, 60 minutes?
60 minutes.
Yeah. All right, that makes sense to me. Have you, do you have a team there or experience in Reno at all? Do you have a network?
No. I know the area well, but as far as real estate investors and whatnot, no, very little.
Yeah. Yeah, Reno, I don't, what's the saying, right? Biggest little city in the world or something like that?
Yes.
It's got to be, what, 300,000 folks in Reno, roughly?
I don't even know the population.
We should probably look that up. I got to make sure it's big. It's got to be
my wife's telling me it's like 400,000.
Okay, so that's big enough. It's not like 40,000. Okay, yeah.
And there's lots of surrounding towns, Sparks, Carson City, you know.
Yeah, I think where you are in California, I've driven through it. I mean, when you were going through that, I'm like, this feels like a Reno answer. I think that it feels right.
My town has 250 people.
Yeah, that's probably too small. Probably too small. Yeah. So I think Reno. I think you have a market. I think it's a lot like the Orlando conversation now. It's like, okay, I got a market, but what part? Like, I've been to Reno 50 times, but what part, right? Are we going down by the casinos? Are we going off, and then, you got to figure out price points and all of that. But what I would try to do is there's a lot of people that went to Reno. So I would start networking a lot like the Orlando conversation.
It seems expensive. the price of houses to what they're getting for rent is the houses are too expensive.
But again, remember what our goal is. Our goal is to learn the skill, right? Some of you, like I remember one of my first conversation years ago, a couple we were investing in San Diego. Their average yield was a negative number.
Yeah.
But they learned the skill, and now they're buying hand over fist in St. Louis. They would have never been able to do that because they didn't have the skill.
Mm-hmm.
So again, going to a market that you could learn and network and is close enough doesn't mean it has to be the one you end up buying in.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, you may go to Reno and go, you know what, Michael, it's a 1% yield. I'm going to freaking put my money in a savings account and get 5% or whatever we're getting these days.
Yeah.
But the goal is to learn the skill. So I think you can learn that in Reno.
I'm not a very good networker. I know you've talked a little bit, like how am I going to go identify other investors?
So what I would do for that is I would take the easiest path. And that is there's a couple of ways. One is I would call real estate agents with junky properties because you already said you're a general contractor. And you could say, hey, my name's, Eggers. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yes.
Eggers. Hi, I'm Paul Eggers. I'm a general contractor in, around Truckee. I found your property on 123 Main Street in Reno. I've always wanted to, fix her upper, blah, blah, blah. What can you tell me about it? The pictures look like this, but what is this? Right. So start that because again, it's a real estate agent. They're paid to sell. It's gonna be an easy conversation for you. Second, there's got to be investors in Reno, probably certainly on bigger pockets, and I would just start stalking them. This is actually what Millennial Mike did in Gary, Indiana. Is he just started following people in that and started commenting on their posts? So not even direct communication, just commenting on, start building that relationship, and then that led to phone calls and Zoom calls and face to face. So everybody doesn't have to speak. You just have to be interacting with folks. Because you'd be shocked, right? Somebody who has maybe I'm going to guess there's a YouTube channel on Reno. I have no idea. I would guess, but just by interacting with them, they probably get like 5 comments a week. If you're on every video, they'll start interacting with you, and then you could just tell them, hey, I'm looking here. I saw this listing. What do you think? If you ever need a contractor, I could, if you're a contractor, you actually have value. So think about this. This is what I would do now that I think about your background. There's got to be half a dozen real estate investors right now in Reno that are doing projects. You could exchange your knowledge and experience, give them advice, whatever, for lunch or conversations or introductions or all of that. You have true value and experience to bring. So use that as your secret weapon.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Awesome. Does that feel doable? I know I sense a little nervousness. I want to make sure you're okay before I.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm just not kind of shy. Don't necessarily like putting myself out there, but I guess that's the thing I've got to overcome.
But so yes. But you'll be shocked. Real estate people like to talk. It's a people business.
Okay.
And because you have the contracting background, you have give to get. Like if you were 19 years old, or 18 and you could just barely sign a legal contract with no experience, that's tough. But you have probably the most, I don't know what I want to call it, envious skill set, right? You get your hands dirty. You can make stuff happen. You've done it.
Mm-hmm.
You know how many people will talk to you? You go to a real estate meetup. I would actually challenge you to do this. Take your wife to Reno, have a night out, have a party, go to a real estate meetup the next day, and just have the balls to say, my name is Paul. I'm a general contractor. I'm looking to build a network in Reno, and sit your ass down. You'll be swarmed. Everybody wants a good contractor.
Where do I find real estate meetups?
I would probably go to meetup.com. I would go to Bigger Pockets. I think, yeah, Google search. But yeah, meetup.com is the place to go.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Very, very cool, Daniel. Next up that was Paul. Sorry. Oh, Daniel put his hand down. I get confused. So lower Daniel's hand. lower Paul's hand. Okay. Next up is Van Reeth.
So, I'm Van Rith. I currently live in Long Beach, California. So that's my vibe. That's my area. And
Okay.
currently I'm a software engineer. I do consulting with the Salesforce products. So that's kind of what I do. So I work remotely, and I have a couple kids, and like my oldest is gonna be going to college relatively soon in the next few years, and then so I wanted to get into real estate investing so that I can use that maybe later on to provide for her college, and so that's kind of one aspect. And then I have family, I have my parents that I would like to support eventually with that also. There's other like little activities that I would like to do with real estate investing. And so I've looked into Long Beach, and it's pretty expensive. And I have other places that I'm looking into. One being Indianapolis, Indiana, and then Fresno.
Sure.
I've lived in Fresno when I was
Oh.
younger, and we go to Indianapolis every summer just because my wife's grandparents live in Indiana, so that's kind
Okay.
of my background.
Yeah. So you've got a lot of choices, right?
Too many choices.
Yeah, so we got to get through this, right? So
Yeah.
again, just like some of the earlier conversations, you live in an expensive part of the world, right? Kind of my story as well. You really have that. You have a choice. Am I going to pick Long Beach knowing with certainty I'm not buying here?
Yeah.
That's a tough pill to swallow for a lot of folks. I think it's the right one for most folks. However, you do have a footprint in Fresno, which from Long Beach, that's got to be 4 hours, 4.5.
4 or 5 hours, just depends on how quickly.
That's because that's a 10-hour day. That's not a day trip. At least not for me. That's not.
It's funny because I've done that in the past with my parents, so it's doable. It's just like it's not.
Oh
fun.
yeah, it's doable, but it's not repetitive. That will become a problem.
Yeah.
Right? I just drove from Vegas yesterday for 8 hours. It's doable, but I'm not driving back today. Right? That's
If
not
the train to nowhere actually completes, maybe I would do it.
No, that's a different story, right? I've been hearing about that thing since 2001, but whatever. So let's play this out. Long Beach is a pretty decent sized town.
Yeah, right? It was about 500,000
big enough
a couple years ago. Then it's declining, so it's probably closer to 450.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have family in Indianapolis.
Yes.
So, if you're looking for more reasons to go to Indianapolis than once a year, if you want to go 4 times a year, maybe that makes sense. Because what I'm sensing from you is you've got family there, but no real estate network.
Yeah, I met another investor that has property there. So that's one connection that I could and then there's other people that do. One of my relatives is cleans houses like Airbnbs, so she might know people also. Yeah.
So, and again, I think Indianapolis is a very active market. So I think for you, it comes down to Long Beach or Indianapolis.
Okay.
You've got to figure out, am I comfortable spending 90 days? Because what you can do in Long Beach is you could go to open houses every Sunday. You could walk projects. You could go to meetups. You could do lots of face-to-face stuff. Sounds like you have an okay start in Indianapolis, and Indianapolis is swarming with investors. So if you've got one investor contact without even trying, you could get more.
Yeah.
But you can't do as much on the ground. Right? It's too far away. So that's the question. Am I comfortable learning the skill, like playing golf in my backyard, knowing that I will never play here long term? Because cash flow is not happening in Long Beach unless you get like really lucky or 70% down.
Yeah.
So that's a question. you need to answer yourself. Because you've already got one contact, you have some family, some friends, it seems like you're open to network. You're going to have to network a lot harder to get Indianapolis ramping than I think you would Long Beach, because you can do a lot more face to face.
Okay. I'm open to it. I think the investor friend that I have, he has like property managers and such, so there's like I can rely on somewhat his network to kind of expand.
Why don't you do this? Why don't you have those conversations? Tell them, hey, I'm thinking about coming here, all of that.
Okay.
Try to meet a second one, but also drive around Long Beach, or look up on Meetup or whatever. Why don't you try to find a Long Beach or a SoCal real estate meetup around Long Beach?
Mm-hmm.
And because I think you need to see, I think there's a huge difference in speed looking local.
Okay. And so I've been to real estate meetups, and so I've asked people like what pockets that they're investing in, and they've given me a couple. So
okay.
Yeah.
Have you poked around, driven around, looked around those?
I poked around online. I haven't too much physically yet, so I could do that.
Yeah, I really do think you have to. So again, I think you have to reach out to folks in Indianapolis and do some driving around in Long Beach.
Okay.
Because again, I think it's fair to say that cash flow in Long Beach is hard. But you'll have to answer, because you could learn the skill in Long Beach faster, in my opinion, than Indianapolis.
Yeah.
But if you look at learning the skill and then learning Indianapolis, the total time might be longer. So I understand that. So it might make sense just to start there.
So the other thing that I've noticed is that with Long Beach is that they buy bigger lots to put ADUs on. So that's the thing that they do to get the appreciation and the cash flow up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I suspect, given California's ADU rules, that's going to become very common in expensive areas. Corner lots, alley access, big lot. It's yeah. I mean, if you're game for that, it's a proven model. I mean, that could be some big money though.
Yeah. It's a lot of money to put down on something.
Yo, for sure. Yeah. And today, a lot of folks, I think, will get stuck because a lot of folks that do that want to burr out, right? Extract the money back so they can do it again. It's going to be tough for the next year or so with these high rates.
I would like to keep it for a while, just because I would like to do other strategies with it, if I could. Yeah.
So I think you need to dig into both, which I don't normally say. But I think you got to get to a point in the next week to 10 days.
Okay.
Where you have to pick one.
Okay.
But I think you need to give both an honest shot, right? Meet 2 or 3 people here, 2 or 3 people there. The thing in Long Beach, though, I think you have to appreciate is you got to get in the car and drive around to the areas, see what these people are talking about.
I generally know the areas that they're talking about. I've lived there forever, so it's kind of I just need to actually see the properties and kind of look at them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I call it kicking rocks. Got to get out, kick some rocks, if you can. Walk through them. Yeah, that's what I would do.
Are you so like? Is there any type, just like any type, like A, B, or C kind of properties, or just like?
Well, I think right now we're trying to pick a market.
Okay. So it just doesn't matter.
We're not there yet. Yeah, you're trying to immerse yourself. And the question you owe yourself, you owe me, and you owe the group is, I'm going to focus on X the next time we talk.
Okay.
That's where I'm trying to get to.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much. Awesome. Karen. Where is she? There she is.
I'm right here.
Hi.
There's 2 Karens.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Which Karen do you want?
No, I want the Karen with no last name. That was first.
All right.
I'm sorry. My bad. Karen, no last name. Sorry.
Nice to meet you finally. Talk to you in person. It's great. So just a little bit behind me. So a couple years ago, I bought your course. I kind of dove right in. I yes, I looked at the spreadsheet. I did the spreadsheet, but I didn't really do it the way I should have. And so I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's a very hot market, cash flow. And I think Jesse mentioned in the chat that it's really tough to get cash flow here locally. So I did actually buy a long-term rental a couple years ago in a tertiary market in Greenville, North Carolina.
Okay.
But I feel like desperate to get another one. And so, just because I think you mentioned it earlier too, like I'm a little bit older, I'm getting into this way late. I'm looking to preserve or, take care of myself in my older age and et cetera. And just kind of, get away from my W-2 eventually, or a little bit quicker than 65. But I am having a hard time getting focused again. And I could, now that I'm thinking about it and I hear everybody else's story, like I probably need to just, in that Greenville, North Carolina area, there's a huge, very large healthcare system and university. So now as we're talking through this, I think I need to still stay focused there. It is about an hour and 15 minutes away, but really get to know it a little bit more, closely, really do the work like you mentioned so much. So I can get focused here and just try to do it again, because I would love to do it in this area, but I think it's just the median home income is, or the range is just too high. Probably looking, the median home price is probably like 450. Just a little bit outside my range for sure.
So again, you've got a market, Greenville, right? You have an asset there. So you already have somewhat of a network. Do you manage it yourself? Or
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep,
so you've made phone calls, contractors and this, that. So
no. So it was kind of turnkey when I bought it.
It
didn't need a lot of work. And I'm not going to claim it an alligator. I don't want to put it in that category. It's probably close.
All right.
Like I said, I jumped in a little bit too quickly because I was feeling, the 3% interest rate, et cetera, So but I think if I do the work properly this time, I might be able to find a better deal,
I think you bought an average deal, right?
Yeah, probably.
Oftentimes we rush.
Yes.
We buy average. That's okay. It's all right. We are here now.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I think you owe yourself, and you owe yourself permission and grace to step back and now admit, I'm going to do the work.
Yeah.
I'm going to meet 5 investors in Greenville. I'm going to meet agents. I'm going to look up properties. I'm going to build the spreadsheet. Now, again, Greenville's the market. We haven't even got to the buy box yet. That'll be, our next conversation.
Right.
But your market is Greenville.
Okay.
Hard stop.
Yeah.
And, now it's about grace and permission to find other folks like you in Greenville.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank
you, because I needed that little push, and this little bit of information we're sharing today, I think has been very helpful for that. Squirrel syndrome.
Squirrels. And again, as I think I've said a couple of times already, I'm sure I'll say again, your market is Greenville, which means it's nothing else.
Okay.
It's permission to focus and permission to ignore.
Okay. And 2, I think a lot of us, I'm not sure if anybody else can relate, but mindset, staying focused, is difficult for me sometimes. And I get really distracted, and then I don't know what to do, where to find information. Like I said, and even I'm like thinking about this rental that I have, I'm maybe going to switch strategies. I might try midterm rental. So I get a little bit, like I said, it's hard to stay focused sometimes.
Yeah. So what I would ask you to do for at least the next 90 days is throw all of that stuff away. You're trying to learn Greenville.
Okay.
You're not trying to go from a long-term to midterm to short-term to ADU to this, to that, to this, to that. No, Karen's trying to learn Greenville.
Okay. Got it.
We can worry about that other stuff later.
Okay.
Make sense?
Sounds good. Yes.
All right. Awesome. Any other questions, Karen?
No, I think, like I said, the accountability is going to be really important, because, like I said, I bought your course, and I was even looking on Teachable yesterday, and I got totally overwhelmed by just everything else that you put in there. So thank you so much for even doing that. But yeah, I need to be accountable to something or somebody.
All right.
So this is going to help me stay focused for sure.
All right. Well, let's do something I did with Michael earlier, because I think you're begging me to give you a number. So let's see. I would like you to talk to 3 real estate agents in Greenville.
Okay.
And find 2 other investors.
Okay.
Now, the easiest way for everyone to find investors is to ask real estate agents if they have them, right?
Mhm.
Referrals.
Mhm.
And of course, you go online to meetups and the stuff we've talked about earlier. So
Right.
there's a task for you, or a
Yeah.
goal.
And actually, the person who got me involved in the Greenville, North Carolina area was a real estate agent / investor. So, he's a good resource for sure.
Go back. Yeah.
I know
You're cheating. You've already got the first one, and that, I'm sure he or she will give you more. So, but yeah, take that seriously.
Okay, will do.
All right.
Yes. Thank you so much.
No problem, Karen. All right. Arun, you're up next. Where are you? There he is.
Hi, good morning all.
Hi.
I'm Arun. I'm from Tampa, Florida.
Okay.
I'm,
do you have 2 mics, Arun? Do you by chance have 2 mics on? I'm getting a little bit of an echo.
Echo? Okay. Is it better now?
Not really, but I can hear you pretty clear. But
okay.
Is it?
Okay. Yep. So I have no experience in real estate, so trying to get to know more.
Yep.
And I have a friend who's having a bunch of properties, and I was talking to him in and out, and kind of he, based on my conversation, he just go by his instincts, and he's not much kind of a structured person where he keeps track of all those things. I think he got around 12, 13 properties, and then he, it's not. I mean, based on my discussion, I haven't gone too much deep into like kind of how his finance work, all those things. He's my friend too. So
yeah,
he collects sometimes by cash, check, sometimes transfer, all those things. That's about like which I don't want to I didn't get too much into. But he recently got a real estate license, and then I asked him like I would like to get in, and then we looked into like couple of areas, which is 45 minutes drive from where I live.
Okay.
So kind of then I bought the course probably like a year or a year and a half before. Every time life got too many priorities, so kind of move things. Okay, we'll do it tomorrow kind of thing. And then finally open this one bootcamp. I said, I'll buy this. Work together, get focused, and then kind of my goal is to get 1 property before end of this year.
Okay. All right. Well, end of this year? I don't know about that. Let's be clear. I don't know about it. I would love you to be able to tell me, Arun, an average deal in my market of choice, which, oh, by the way, we don't even have yet. So we got a lot of work to do, is X. Sometimes I work with folks. I worked in tech. I worked with sales guys who had oodles of money. They sometimes think money allows you to skip the line, skip the work. I don't believe in that. All of us, myself included, have to do the work. So I think being excited about real estate and telling yourself, I'm going to get a deal by the end of the year, is frankly a mistake. The goal by the end of the year is to tell Mike Zuber what an average deal is in my chosen market. That's going to be hard enough. Now, if you happen to get lucky and get a great deal after learning average, pop champagne. But I don't want to set misguided goals. And let me say it this way. Your buddy has proven that anybody could buy properties without a plan. That's what you told me. Oh, he's got a bunch of properties, not really doing this and this. He's got to move cash around, this and that. That's not my jam. That's not how I play.
Yeah.
I want to go into this with a structured mindset. I want to be able to go in and know that every offer I write is a great deal. It's not gambling. And your boy, he probably got lucky with appreciation. So he's probably flexing and looking great because he got lucky. That ain't my jam. So for you, Arun, I think the first thing we have to step back with, because you said Tampa, right? Do I remember that?
Yes. Yes.
Tampa's massive, like Orlando is. I think you
Yes.
need to look around and find an area in Tampa that you want to be looking at for the next 90 days.
Right.
And I can already guess you're going to do that. You're going to do it. And then you're going to be like day 7, your boy's going to talk about some other area. I want to be clear.
On Monday called 5 tailored strategies for women. And I'm here to put in a quick plug, but why I'm so passionate about.
Let me just do that. Okay. Somebody else was talking. Sorry. What I want to talk about is you have permission not to look anywhere else. You've got to really hold yourself accountable. So you haven't picked a market yet. Cool. That's okay. But that's your job, is to ask around, what part of Tampa should I be looking at? What's a good and just like I said earlier, what part not to look at? Because I'm sure there's some parts in Tampa you don't want to be.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. So I guess I would ask your friend, start there, easy phone call, ask him for referrals to others.
Yes.
But I think you need to have a half a dozen conversations. You should remove the goal of getting a property by the end of the year, because if you do that, in my opinion, you're gambling.
Yeah.
I don't like to gamble. I like to have a strategic, I want the odds on my side. Does that make sense, Arun?
Yes. Yes.
Very, very cool. So you know your action item?
Yeah.
Awesome. Any other questions for me?
No, not at this point. So I'll start talking to people and start collecting the inputs and kind of get more clarity on my area.
Yeah. So what I said might be seen as harsh. Like I'm removing this goal of getting a deal by the end of the year. You might hear that and you might, that guy's a dick. I hate that guy. What I'm trying to help you understand is I want to give you permission to do the work. I want you to be comfortable with that. I can already sense like disappointment. I don't want you to be disappointed. I want you to know you're not gambling. Your money is still going to be there. You're going to just be that much better of an investor. So I don't want you to be disappointed because I just told you getting a deal by the end of the year is not a great goal. I don't want you to be disappointed. I want you to feel from me the risk that I see if you had that as a goal. That's really risky to me. Now, it could work out. Risks pan out all the time. But so I don't want you to be disappointed, and I fear you might be disappointed. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Like now I'll focus more on kind of the analyzing these markets and then kind of finding what can work best for me on the long term.
There, and you know what? I'll give you permission. Set a goal to get a deal in Q1. That way you can feel better. Just not Q4. Sure. Let's say Q1. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks, Mike.
You got it, Arun. Sabi, I think. Where are we?
You're talking about me? Salby?
Yes. Salby, sorry. My bad.
Hey.
Salby.
All right. I didn't know I was next. All right. So I am a software developer and I have a side hustle with my wife reselling Christian Louboutin shoes. Ooh. So that makes that's been working out pretty well so far. And we live over in the North Texas, DFW area.
Okay. Yep.
So a little bit about my experience. Back in 2015, no experience whatsoever. I still think I got super lucky, but I wasn't making much. And I just knew that the only way to purchase a property was to get some help from friends, have them move in with me, and then have them pay the mortgage and everything. Yeah, just house hack. I didn't even know the term back then. Then fast forward 2019, ended up selling, got about a decent profit from that. And then nice. I think it was last year, I made a pretty big mistake. I went into Yucca Valley, California to buy a short-term rental. The place got so oversaturated, and it was very difficult to operate there. So I ended up just taking a loss, getting rid of it.
Okay.
And now I am actually under contract for a property in Garland, and it's really close to Dallas.
Okay.
And it's going to be mostly for primary residence at first. I want to live in there for 2 years and then make it into a rental.
Okay.
I checked out the comps. It was undervalued completely. The owners live in California. They didn't want to deal with it. So yeah, my specific market, and I think is going to be in that region, about 30-mile radius.
And you're going to be living there, so that makes sense. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I wanted to focus specifically on duplex and fourplexes, but I don't know yet. So I'm putting a lot of money down, so I don't know how to get it out, really.
Yeah.
So
yeah, well, so good news there. We don't have to worry about that yet, right? Because the goal number one is going to be learn Garland, learn what areas. I would not go into a new market. This is really for everyone with the idea of saying I'm only looking at duplexes or quads yet. We're finding an area or a market first.
Okay.
Right. So your job, I don't know how big Garland is, sorry, is to figure out, I'm guessing it's, I don't know, what is it, 100,000? I have no idea.
It's I don't know exact population, but it's pretty big. It's an old city, but I specifically went towards North Garland because it just seems like there's a few places that have new construction. It's getting better.
Yeah.
And whatnot.
So you know what? Let's play with that a little bit. So you just said something that I think certainly what I do in Fresno, and I'm sure it applies elsewhere, is I might choose to live in North Garland, but I may choose to invest in an older part of town. What I have found to be the best yield, cash on cash return, is in older areas because you get them cheaper. Nobody, homeowners want the new stuff. They don't want the dated kitchens, all of that. But tenants don't necessarily need granite, right? They can take the older stuff. So again, I think you need to talk to people in Garland around. I'm going to guess, given my experience, that there's a part of town that's like, hey, these homes are 30 years old. Not a lot of people are coming here to buy these. I can clean them up real easy. I don't need to, it's still relatively new construction. I think you're getting a better cash on cash return in an older part of town is my guess.
Well, let me specify. So
Sure.
yes, there are new homes popping up here and there in the area, but I bought an older home in 1985. And it's in a HOA. They don't really charge a whole lot, but it's well taken care of, somewhat. Just the inside needs a little bit of work, but
yeah, it's great.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think you've got a great home you're getting into. Now it's about learning what a good rental would be. Right. What's the average return? So I think you have a good plan, right? This is something I wish I did much earlier, right? Go live in a home, live there for 2 years, get equity. You can sell it tax free. I mean, there's all kinds of, great housing benefits. So that plan seems solid to me. But now it's about, okay, now I have to go learn the market of Garland as an investment on purpose. And that's a different calculation.
Okay. You can do
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Very, very cool. So yeah, I'm going to guess there's a part of town that's, again, the beauty about today versus 25 years ago is there's probably dozens of investors in Garland, and you can start networking and see what's what. There's probably dozens of meetups in Dallas. Again, just raise your hand. Hi, I'm an investor in Garland. If anyone wants to talk, let's talk. I mean, real estate investors are very chatty.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely. Awesome. Today's my last day of the option period, so if you're saying that it's a solid deal, then I'll.
Well, I don't. Again, well, hey, let's have that conversation. I know nothing about it, so it sounds like you bought it undervalued.
Yes.
You're telling me.
Yep.
You're going to live there, so owner occ versus. So you and your family cool with the place.
Yep.
Right. You got to live somewhere.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the thing. Our lease is up in our apartment in December, so we're like, hey, are we gonna rent for 2,500, or can we put down enough to make the mortgage,
Yeah. So
be
are you
about the
close on
rent
that?
level? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's just play the worst case scenario. Let's say Texas takes a hit, and 2 years from now, the value is 10% lower. Well, guess what? You got a fixed rate mortgage. You just stay put.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the worst case. Honey, we have to live in our home a couple more years. That's what I'm hearing the worst case, because you're not getting an arm or something stupid, right?
No.
Okay, so the worst case scenario is you live in your home for a little bit longer. I think you're cool with that, right?
Yes. Yeah. All right.
Seems like a no-brainer to me.
All right. Perfect.
Yeah, and don't forget, I bought a new home recently too, so I put my money where my mouth is. So, yeah, so we'll see. All right.
All right. Appreciate it.
You got it, buddy. Take care. Jason's hands up next. Is there more? Yeah, one Jason.
Morning, how you doing,
Jason? Mike?
Good. So a little bit about myself. I born and raised in LA County, Pasadena specifically. I still live here currently, very new to the housing market and just kind of observe as much as I can. When a lot of people started learning about investing in the stock market, that's when I started. So I had the whole wave of made a lot of money and lost a lot of money just because
Been there, done that.
Right.
Check.
So now I'm trying to take, a more disciplined approach and really learning about whatever it is I'm going to put my money into. And my parents, they own not commercial, excuse me, a multifamily, and they've been in it. They've been preaching real estate is the way since day one. But living in LA, I'm like, and they always said you need like 20 to 25% down. I'm like, it's just impossible.
Mom, let me show you the math. That's a big number.
Right. So yeah, so now I've been trying to just dive back in, diligent about saving and just trying to figure out, what's a reasonable amount to save, where should I invest, so on and so forth. So I have some ideas, but I think the blockers I keep running into is what's a good deal, what's a good market, do I have enough saved up to make a good deal, like, and just kind of like being decision anxiety of like,
yeah. So let's remove all of that.
Yeah.
So all of that, is it a good deal? Do I have enough money? All of that stuff, pick it up, put it on the ground. We'll look at that later.
Yep.
It's not even in consideration. Now let's go back to, you said you had some ideas on markets. So tell me about that.
Yeah. So I had a few markets in mind. And honestly, a big driver is, one is, does it seem like an attractive place to live, but also is it affordable for me to actually purchase there, right? And continue to invest year over year without giving everything up into one thing, right? So I kind of separated it into like what's a nearby-ish area market, so less than an hour. So I have like North Hollywood or the Valley area, San Fernando Valley. I also have I have Long Beach as one area, and then I have like a greater than 1 hour, and that is Bakersfield, as well as like some parts of the Inland Empire, specifically like Riverside, San Bernardino.
Sure. Yeah.
And then I've considered out of state. I don't really want to do out of state.
So let's take that off the table. Out of state's out of it, because
love that.
Put it on the ground. We're talking Bakersfield or Riverside. I'm guessing Bakersfield's 5 hours for you, and Riverside's like 2.5.
Bakersfield's like an hour and a half without traffic, probably 2
hour and a half.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm in Pasadena.
Way south.
Right on the outside. And then the Inland Empire, like let's say Riverside, it could be anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half, depending on traffic.
All right. So both of those are kind of equal to me. Riverside is bigger than Bakersfield, I think.
Yep.
Certainly more development going on. There are some people in my network that invest in Bakersfield, but it's a pretty tiny market.
Yeah.
Right. I would, again, just us boys talking, Riverside's got more going for it. Plus, I think the population is growing. You're still getting that kind of eastward migration. And And I know there's a lot of investor activity there, so it'll be easier to learn and network with folks. I mean, just example, Adrian Hernandez, who's on my channel, I think every Wednesday or Tuesday, he's active there. Omar's active out in that area. So you have two ends just on my channel.
Nice.
But again, I think, I think you make some phone calls and make sure I'm right, because maybe Bakersfield clicks with you, but you've got to pick one or the other in the next 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's about, okay, great. I've got to go there's meetups in Riverside. I know there are. I've been invited to some. You've got to go out there. You've got to talk to folks. You got to drive the area. You've got to be purposeful. This is not yet about finding the buy box in Riverside. It's getting comfortable with Riverside. Where am I going? And again, to your earlier comments, there's all this other stuff your mind wants to take you to, Jason.
Yep.
Pick it up, put it down. You have one task, Riverside, right? Or, you're going to poke around Bakersfield maybe a little bit. My gut tells me you're going to pick Riverside just because it's easier to learn.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at, right? You want to learn to play this game. You clearly can get focused and disciplined. So I think once you give yourself permission to focus, it's also permission to ignore. Yep. So I want to give you permission to ignore and focus.
No, sounds good. So in terms of learning Riverside, what are the things you would suggest?
First off, I think you need to find 3 or 4 active real estate investors there. Congratulations. You've got 2 on my channel that'll introduce you to lots of people. So it's like you're cheating. You should probably look online and meet some agents with lots of listings. You should really go for it. You should try to go to a local Riverside meetup. There got to be ones monthly. You really are lucky that you can probably get introductions to lots of active real estate investors. And again, like a lot of the other conversations, where to invest and where not to invest. And you got to ask a lot of people. I asked 75 people over the course of, 90 days or so, way back when. And then you got to figure out, what part of Riverside is going to become the buy box. But that's the next task. Yeah. Let's get some coverage now.
Okay. No, sounds good. And I guess just one question that kind of help really prioritize this. So right now I am renting and paying about $2,800 in rent, way more than I'd like.
Sure.
Would you, I'm trying to make sure it's not too loaded of a question.
Load the question. I don't care.
I could probably try to relocate somewhere to where I could probably get a close enough monthly that it's a couple $100 more. But of course, I'd have to put a good chunk up front, and that can take away from investments. Do you have any
insight? I'll answer 2 questions that you really asked.
Yeah.
What we're talking about here, learning the market, that's one of the things you pick up and put down.
Mm-hmm.
Because that can create all kinds of confusion and all of that. You're trying to learn the skill of playing golf, which in this case to me is real estate investing. The tasks I've given you don't change because of that. Now let's step back and have a chat over a beer, if you will. I believe getting on the property ladder is the path to long-term wealth, bar none. It just is. I think one of the things I wish I would have done earlier, if I could have, right? By the time I found it, I just wasn't going to do was I would house hack, whether it would be a duplex or quad or with roommates like some folks do. That helps really lower the cost. So if I had my druthers and you and I have known each other for 60 seconds, I think getting an owner-occ spot that's close enough to rent, but being able to house hack to really cut the costs so I can stack paper faster, that's not a bad option.
Gotcha.
So did I feel like I answered it both ways?
Yeah, no, good. That's good to know. That's definitely kind of where my mind was going. I wanted to know your insight there. So.
Cool. All right, Jason, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Karen Casey. Now, Karen Casey.
Hi, Michael.
Hi.
Okay, so I currently, I'm a school psychologist. I'm in my 50s, so I am kind of starting a little bit late to the game. But with that being said, I do have a condo in the Fresno area, and that was my original home. And then I ended up moving, so I became an accidental landlord, and I just recently paid that property off. Then
okay.
I have another property that I purchased where I live, and I live in Northern California off of the 50, and I'm exactly 1 hour to South Lake Tahoe and 1 hour to downtown Sacramento. And I work in Sacramento, so I commute down every day. So I bought this trashy little junker house. And at the time I bought it, they had already done inspections. So I took that big mistake, should have done my own. So it's costing me more than I had anticipated to redo.
Okay.
But I do have a great contractor now. And so I'm in the process of redoing that right now. I'm waiting for the county to approve some plans and we can move forward.
Okay.
It will cash flow. Barely.
Okay.
But I will hold it. I'll hold that property. And so that one's 5 minutes from my house. But I should tell you, I live in a town with about 8,000 people.
That's pretty tiny. Okay.
So it is small. Mostly up here, we have people come camping and vacation. So anyways, so I am with a lot of people. I was considering Tennessee, but we'll take that off the table for right now.
Yeah.
I have a couple of friends and some relatives that live there. So, but we'll take that out because that's not here. Yeah. And I need to be able to drive. So my town, I don't want another property here. It's too small. Yeah. And our fire insurance has just skyrocketed, which is one of the reasons this property is not going to cash flow like I had anticipated.
Yep.
So I was considering going down the hill. So maybe Cameron Park, Sacramento, Folsom area. It's pretty expensive. The other area I was looking at is maybe Stockton.
How far is Stockton from you?
Stockton is exactly 2 hours, but I have grandkids there.
You have a reason to go.
I have a reason to go.
Well,
and then I could always stay in Fresno as well. I mean, I lived there for many, many years. I know Fresno incredibly well. And
Fresno's farther than Stockton for you?
Yes, it is. It's a 3-hour drive.
Yeah. So let's pick. So Sacramento, I think you said earlier, is an hour.
Yes.
And then Stockton's 2 hours, but you got grandbabies, so
I do.
That's always a plus. But it sounds like that we have to figure that out, right? Is it going to be Sacramento, which is closer? You already do that drive every day, or at least 5 days a week. It probably is easier to do meetups because you just go after work, right? You can meet agents. On this channel, we've got Matt, the mortgage guy, who's a cheat code for you for Sacramento. He's an investor. He knows about it. He speaks all over the place.
Yeah, he has half my stuff already for approval.
Yeah, so that's great. But that's not where I was going. Where I was going with that is he'll give you introductions.
Okay.
To lots of people. That's where I was going with that.
Okay.
So that's kind of a cheat code. When in doubt, closer's better. And I think Sacramento is way bigger than Stockton. Although I love grandbabies, so
yes,
I feel that tug and pull. I just think it's going to be a lot easier in North Sacramento.
Okay.
To learn the skill.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
It does, because I like you've been saying multiple times that once we learn how to do that, we can expand out to other markets.
Yes.
And I will say, it was really hard to get my husband on board, and by the time I got him on board, he got sick and passed. So I am a widow, so it's really important to me to make money because it's just me. I have to support myself, and I have 5 grandkids, and my goal, I'll be honest, would be to get 5 properties to leave each grandkid a property.
I love that goal. So you've got 2.
I have 2.
We need 3 more.
Mm-hmm.
Sacramento is your market. Let's just say it right now.
Okay.
And again, the goal isn't necessarily to buy in Sacramento. It's to learn the skill and then maybe we go to Stockton or heck Tennessee. I don't know, but let's not play the game by cutting the line. Karen Casey is going to learn North Sacramento, and frankly, Karen Casey is going to reach out to Matt, the mortgage guy, and say, Michael told me to get 3 referrals to other investors in Sacramento. So go do that and use my name. But yeah, so you have a market now.
Okay.
And you have a stated goal of getting to 3, but we don't get there without doing the work first.
Correct.
All right.
All right. Sounds great.
Awesome. Adam, I'm sorry if I skipped you. The names jumbled on mine. Adam, you're next. You were after Karen and then before, and I got all confused. So sorry. I didn't skip you on purpose.
Okay. Hey, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. What do you got behind you? Is that a puppy or?
Those would be our foster kittens right now. So it's a mom
kittens.
and 3 kittens that we're fostering. So
nice.
They just got over being very sick. So we're keeping a close eye on them. So I am
heart.
in. Yeah. Right. A lot of work and a lot of not sleeping. So I am in the Delaware market, Newcastle County.
Okay.
And my thing would specifically be 19701, 19702. So Newcastle and Bear. I already have a property in the Newark one, but I'm in a small state, so like the lines are kind of crappy. It's not like some of these guys in big states.
Okay.
Our states, you could go, if you start narrow down, you get to like 50,000 people, and even in, because it's kind of, there's a lot because it's a real old state.
Okay.
So, I have my market, it's, just kind of looking at it. I wasn't really sure because like, if I do the entire county, it's still only like 400,000 people, you know what I mean? It's entire like top half of the state. But we're also a really super hot market, from people that I've tried to talk to, just because we're a no sales tax. We're we're in the bottom 10 states for lowest property tax in the country, and everybody's moving out of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York to escape. So we're kind of like in the same way that Texas just got a flow of people with tons of cash. Our market just got, we have most homes, including my own rental, like they're up 100% in 5 years. Or,
that doesn't suck. That's pretty good.
No, it's great, but it's also like for people that have been here, like myself for a while, I look around and go, what the hell happened? You know what I mean?
It's out of towners.
Yeah, exactly. That's been my entire life. It's just like, damn out of towners, but it's great because I have, rental that did well, but that was just kind of, like you said, it was just dumb luck. It was just shit happened. But so we're kind of looking around. I wasn't sure, like, because I have the thing, I wasn't how specific. I guess the buy box is when you start getting when you start doing like 2 under a certain amount. That's okay. So you don't have to worry about that. But, I guess my main question for you would be, if my county, the entire county is only 400,000 or 500,000 people, should I just do the county, or should I try to restrict myself to a smaller, like 1 or 2 zip codes if they're not that big to begin with?
Yeah. So this is more of a buy box conversation, but happy to answer it. I think what you need to do once you get to step 2 is you need to have active listings of between 20 and 40 active listings. If it's less than 20, your criteria is too tight. If it's more than 40, it's too broad.
Okay. Yeah, I've got 37 as of this morning.
Then whatever you're doing, that is your search for the next 90 days. We are documenting what is coming in, what is leaving, what is changing. Congratulations. You're going to lead us off week 2. That's the goal. Now, I'm just curious, was that the whole county or was that a couple zip codes?
That was just the 2 zip codes.
Oh, beautiful.
Like if I go out to the other ones, it's, it may be, I don't know if it'll be 100 or more, but like 200, but like I said,
too much.
Small. It's a lot, but there's a lot happening. Like we're in a very still super hot.
Every day you've got to look at that. You're going to document in, out, and that's the spread. Like your spreadsheet, when you're all done with it, could have 200 rows.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And the whole idea is once you get into it, it feels monotonous. It feels repetitive, but at some point there'll be this click. It's like, this is average for my, whatever, your buy box.
Okay. And then I guess the only other thing would be, like, a lot of people just said the same thing. Like, I need to work on a network because my network is goose egg, so I have nothing. But I guess, should we go back? Like, we were friends with our real estate agent when we bought the home that we lived in briefly, kind of did a little work to, and then rented out, and then moved where we are now. But like, would you just literally go to anyone you know in your network to be like, hey, you sold us the
Yeah.
other one. We're considering getting back into, we're starting to real estate investing, and just see what the hell happens, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are nervous about or shy or introverts. Yeah, any easy conversation you can have just to see that you can have it is worth doing it. Now, just to be clear, that agent is going to hear from you. Oh, great, I got a client. I'm starving for business. They may try to
My
make you
market
sign.
though. Yeah, my market's like,
Oh, good.
she like was sending us stuff before, and I had reached out to her a while ago, and she was like, whenever I've got
I'm
45
way
phone
busy.
calls. Yeah, even with the rates, it doesn't matter because they're all cash. Like everybody's coming. They sold their $800,000 house in New York or PA or wherever, and they're coming here and they're like, oh, we'll take two. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For us it seems like a lot, but to everybody else from all over the place, if I had realized, I didn't realize our property tax was so much lower because I was younger.
Right.
When I worked with somebody and he was like, oh, my property tax is going down $1,000 a month when I moved to your state, I was like, shit, I should have bought more. Damn, I just didn't.
$1,000 a month.
Yeah, I didn't understand that people were moving from New Jersey, and that was just their property tax. They were we have no sales tax. I just didn't understand that people in the country pay so much in taxes.
Yeah,
because for us it was always like, we were like,
didn't
oh
know
no,
any
property
different.
tax. Yeah, so now that I know, I'm like, I should have 8 years ago, I should have just leveraged up and just bought everything I could because it looked like a genius. But
Well, the good news is the migration patterns usually aren't one and dones.
No,
so you have years. Yeah, you have years that this is going to be occurring. So again, I think you've got it. I think you just need to work on your network.
Okay.
I'm sure there are meetups. I don't know that I've been invited to one. I don't know.
Yeah, there's some. A lot of them are like, it's hard to separate. I mean, do you have any advice for separating out the ones that are kind of BS and the ones that aren't? Because looking at a lot of I was like, oh, okay, pay us this money or show up to this investor thing.
If the meetup is any more than $20, I wouldn't go.
Okay.
So I think a meetup that you help pay for the room, that's okay.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, so $20 has always been my threshold.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Very, very cool. Terry Flood.
Okay.
Hi, Terry.
How's it going, Michael?
Great. How are you?
Hear me?
I can hear you. Yes. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Well, that's
I don't
weird.
think I can see. It's okay.
All right. Actually, my market or buy box was Henderson, Vegas area.
Oh, cool. All right.
However, while I wanted to learn, as you preached, I learned my local market first.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to stay here. I have a home here, but I'm going to retire soon, and I'm only going to spend the summers here. So I'm looking for.
And where's here? Sorry, where's here?
Oh, Minnesota.
Minnesota. Okay, gotcha.
Yep. So it's rather expensive, as you can tell, in Vegas. So I've looked at another area to potentially be a buy box where I could at least afford to get into, much like Millennial Mike did.
Okay.
Although the thing is, I want to retire in Vegas. So I'm at that dilemma of, do I waste time on another buy box or should I stay focused on Vegas?
Well, so the beauty of what we're talking about here is you can choose to live where you want, invest where the numbers make sense.
Right.
So when I hear, so you've researched Henderson, but you don't really know it. You don't have a network. It's just where you're going to retire, right?
Correct.
So, I mean, I think what I hear you saying is let's get serious about where you want to invest, because you're not going to invest in Minnesota. Well, not so your history there doesn't help. B, you're gonna choose to live in Henderson, but it's too expensive to become a rental market. So you're left with this third market, which I don't know that I've heard you say yet.
Here's my plan: Gulf Coast of Mississippi.
Okay.
I'm going to learn that market.
Okay.
If I can find a great deal, great, I buy it. It's a place I can go in the winter, but I'm only going to be down there for 8 months out of the year anyway. So there's no reason why once I buy, I can't eventually also buy in Henderson.
No, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just want to stay focused. What I don't want to do is miss out on the perfect great deal in Henderson while I'm focused on Mississippi.
Well, so let me play with that because I might be confused. Henderson, great deal, is owner occupied. Gulf Coast of Mississippi is an investment property. Did I misunderstand that?
Both, actually. I could do both. Either one, either house hack in either place, or invest and and leave it open. If, in other words, get a single family home in either market and just rent it out and not live there.
Okay.
And or eventually have a home, duplex, whatever, and house hack in that market. I want to be boots on the ground in the market I'm investing in.
All right, so that changes it up. So what I think I've heard you say is you're going to Henderson, right? You're gonna retire there. That's a stated goal. Is that
90%? Yeah. Yep.
That's close enough for me.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I hear you, and especially if you're open to house hacking, I think I think you focus on Henderson. If that's where you want to be, and you're opening to adjusting the numbers to house hacking, and you're going to go back to Minnesota in the summers, seems kind of perfect to me.
Great. That's The only other thing is, can I look at both single family homes with 3-bedroom, 2 baths and single family homes with casitas? Because ideally I would live in the casita and rent the house out.
Absolutely. Yeah. That would be secondary criteria, AKA your buy box. Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'll stay focused on Henderson then.
Yeah. Henderson seems like the right answer. Again, 90% sure you want to go there. It's going to retirement. You want to be boots on the ground.
Yep.
Yeah. Congratulations. You got your market.
All right.
Thanks, Terry. You got it. Julio, Gina, Amy, and then Gabriel. We've got the last 4. So Julio.
Nice to meet you, Mike.
Nice to meet you.
So I live in South Georgia, right outside of Tallahassee, Florida.
Nice.
I moved down here for a job. I work at a biotech company in the lab as my 9 to 5. I like it, but like a lot of people, I want to get out and have some freedom,
I got you.
So my issue is I would love to invest at the beach because I'm only about an hour and a half from like Panama City. However, if you want to do buy and hold, it might not be conducive to that because it's just a touristy area. So Tallahassee and Birmingham, Alabama, which is my hometown, is kind of what I'm going with. Both really affordable markets. The problem with Birmingham is I don't live there anymore, but my friends and family.
How far is it? Sorry.
Oh
yeah, it's long. Okay. Yeah.
And my brother-in-law owns a contracting company. I know people there. That's my hometown. I understand it extremely well, but I'm a little bit far away. With Tallahassee, I don't know it that well, but it's where I live. So that's the kind of things that I'm trying to figure out going forward.
Yeah. So this is a tough one. This is kind of like the hardest question, right? What I hear you saying is Birmingham, got 20 plus years experience. I've got contacts in the business. And then there's, I live somewhere else now. That's
correct. Yeah.
Right.
And to be fair, I don't know anything about real estate. I'm probably one of those people that's watched a lot of YouTube videos, read Rich Dad Poor Dad, but I've never actually did anything. So I'm complete newbie. I don't know what I'm doing. So it might not be that much difference, but it's definitely super comfortable over there because I know it really well.
Well, congratulations. We're going to make you be uncomfortable.
Awesome. Well,
damn it. What is he talking about? So what I want you to do is I want to give you permission to learn the skill of real estate investing in Tallahassee.
Okay.
I'm not telling you to buy. I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm telling you, what? You got to learn one of them. You might as well learn in your current backyard.
Yeah.
So for me, Tallahassee's the option for you because it's backyard. You could go see properties. It's kind of what I did, right? I invested in my backyard, even though I never bought here, but I learned the skill, which means if the answer at the end of Tallahassee is, hey, the returns here suck, but now I can go back to Birmingham where I've got all this extra plus this knowledge. Dude, you light Birmingham on fire. You learn it so fast.
I got you.
So the goal for you is to start building a network in Tallahassee. Like a lot of the early conversations, Tallahassee's massive. You got to ask a bunch of people where to and where not to invest. So the same rules apply to you. And again, when you're talking to people, just be upfront. I'm new to real estate investing. I've done a lot of stuff. Where should I look? Where should I not? Tallahassee's got to have tons of meetups, a lot of activity, investors. You probably could go on our Facebook group and say, "Hey, anybody investing in Tallahassee?" I'm gonna guess of the 2,000 plus people, somebody's there. So you have an in. But yeah, let's get uncomfortable. I think you've got the right mindset. I think going to Birmingham would be a cop out, frankly.
I got you. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, let's learn the skill. Let's go practice some golf, in my backyard and see what we can figure out.
All right, sounds like a plan.
Does that feel good?
Yeah, it feels great.
Awesome. All right, Julio, thank you very much. Gina, you got it. Gina, hi.
Hi, Mike. Hi, everyone. So I live in a very small town in Pennsylvania on the East Coast, Berwick, Pennsylvania. It's bordering, I live kind of between Luzerne County and Columbia County. I do have a W-2 in healthcare, and I'd like to get out of that before 65. We have a duplex that we purchased in 2017 that's in Columbia County. We have a duplex in Luzerne County that we purchased in 2021, and I'm under contract for a 7-unit in Columbia County. I also have done some things with an old 401k where I moved it into a self-directed IRA. So I have it with a custodian so that I could invest in some alternative assets. My alternative asset is focusing on real estate, obviously. Investing in my area, and Columbia County is very small. There's about 65,000 people, but it's a lot of very rural areas. And, so Luzerne County has a lot more people. There's about 325,000
much bigger
Luzerne County. So there's a lot, and there are hospital systems there. There's employment opportunities there. So I'm thinking about looking in Luzerne. I guess one of the things that makes me concerned is that finding contractors and finding the right contractors. I've had a bad issue in the past with the contractor, and probably some of it was my fault because I did not know, really what to ask, and I didn't know much about systems of homes. So just finding those resources, finding a good contractor, finding someone who can maybe help manage the property if I'm unable to do that. So I mean, and when I'm looking there and looking at, the market, my focus is going to be on like multifamily.
Okay.
So should I look to learn the market? I'm hearing you say, don't focus on that. Just focus on, what the market is, what is there in order to learn the market. Is that what I should focus on?
Well, Gina, I think you're a step ahead of some of the other conversations because you've already got assets. You're already there. I think you're right. I think Lucerne's the market, 300,000 versus 60, rural versus, job opportunities. So I think your market is Lucerne. I don't know if I've heard from you yet. Yeah. So I'll step back. I still think you need to learn Lucerne. It feels like you've bought some assets. They worked out, right? You bought at the right time. I'm sure they're up from where you got them. So kudos to you for taking action. But now we got to be a little bit more educated on Lucerne, where to, where not to. We don't want to just do an average deal. We don't want to pay list price. So yeah, I think you need to find other active investors in the area. The big thing that's helped me with contractors is referrals from other investors. And again, just like we talked about earlier, where to and where not to invest. Sometimes the conversations are what contractors not to use, right? Because we in the beginning we can all get got. But yeah, you've got to network more. When I got into Fresno, I didn't really purposely start networking for like 3 or 4 years. Networking with other people in the market is such an unlock it's
Yeah.
it's very powerful. Does that make sense, Gina?
Yeah, and I feel like that's what then takes a long time, getting to know other people and knowing when you're getting a referral, that person's reliable. So I think that and I get anxious sometimes because I want to buy something else or buy another property, so I don't miss out. But it just, I guess, takes that time.
Yeah, this is I have lots of people on my network. They've got the money, they're ready to go, they're excited. Sorry, you can't skip the line. Not if you're following what I preach. You've got to do the work just like everybody else. You've got to be able to tell me, Gina, in 60 or 90 days, in Lucerne County, for this property type, an average return is X. Once you can tell me that, go crazy. Write all the offers at great prices, do some negotiations, get them down to good, whatever you want. But yeah, no cutting the line.
Okay, thank you.
You got it. That was Gina. So Amy, you're up next, and then Gabriel. Amy.
Hi everyone. Michael, can you hear me okay?
I can. Thank you, Amy.
Okay, great. So Michael, I know we've talked a little bit before, but just for everyone else. So I currently live in San Jose, California. So in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I currently work at an environmental consulting firm. So even though all of our work is based in the Bay Area, we do have a very flexible work remote policy where we can move out of the Bay Area to where it makes sense for us cost-wise, as long as we can travel to work when we need to, which it could be once a month or it could be once every couple of months.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it just depends if we need to meet a client or something. And so I decided that I wanted to house hack, which is kind of the strategy I want to do. I decided that I want to move to Sacramento for that, because that's the place
we
that
talked
I
about that. Yep.
see myself living more than other places. And since then, I connected with Matt, the mortgage guy, who he gave me some high level pointers of areas to not focus on versus areas that stood out to him that he would focus on. Okay. He also connected me with an agent who she herself also house hacks and yeah, she's also a young person who is single and house hacking, doing long-term and short-term rentals on her primary residence.
It's fun. Okay.
Yeah. And so she also gave me pointers of areas to focus on. And they overlap with the areas that Matt recommended. But she gave me a big area to focus on. She was even outside of Sacramento, up to Citrus Heights, or just gave me a big area. And I will be honest, I haven't really been taking much action since then. And
well, congratulations. We're going to fix that right now.
Yeah, that's great. I know exactly what I need. And so I want to, what I think is most important to me now is to narrow the market down more, see where exactly I will want to live and where it would be easy to have my rooms rented out with, try to rent it out to people who are kind of similar to my age who I can live together. And then also just networking with people more, because I network with Matt, but then only with that one realtor that actually they do business with. So I feel like I need to talk to more people.
That is your number one thing.
Yeah.
You've talked to 2. You need to talk to 20.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And the beauty of house hacking is the veto criteria is always going to be, does Amy want to live here? Right. This is not about yield or anything, right? That's important, no doubt. But is Amy going to feel safe? Does Amy want to live here? So that having that veto or overriding thing is actually helpful. I love the strategy. I love the agent that you have is a great sounding board because she's doing it similar age, doing similar things. But your job is to figure out your area. So Amy, you're social. You get out there. Let's go to Sacramento meetups. Bigger pockets forums for Sacramento. Sacramento's lots of activity. You've got to find 20 people that are active there. I think one thing you may want to consider internalizing for you is, do you want new? Call new 5 years or less? Or are you comfortable with an older home? I don't know that. I think that's one thing you have to answer for yourself, because that could be an overriding criteria, again, given it's owner occupied. So that's one thing to think about that I haven't heard you talk about.
Yeah. So I do know the answer to that.
Awesome.
So I don't mind living somewhere older. Because the most ideal situation is if I could find like an older but bigger house where I could like convert an extra like dining room or something to a bedroom. And the best case scenario is if I could break even while I'm living there. I heard it's hard just from that one agent I talked to. That is hard if you're living there. But if you're creative and you get really uncomfortable, which I'm okay like living at an old house, but I don't know if I want to live with more than like 5 people. That's probably max.
That's too much. So let's take break even off the table. I mean, that's a great goal if it happens. So I think you just need to figure out parts. I mean, Sacramento's got a lot of old character, a lot of old parts of the city. I think you need to figure out what area you want to be in, because again, some of the older parts of town, they've got some really good classic homes and all of that. I think you've got to figure out what part of the city you want to be in. And again, I think you need to talk to 20 people, and you need to layer over all the thoughts. And again, most importantly, where does Amy want to be? Because maybe Amy wants to be downtown walking distance and stuff. Maybe Amy wants to be over here, right? Because I think house hacking is going to be easier than you expect. I think because earlier it's like, hey, will it be easy to rent? I think any place in Sacramento that's safe, secure, parking, I think that's the least of your concern. I think the answer is you need to drive around Sacramento, and where does Amy want to be? I think maybe you're putting too much on, it's got to be a great house hack. So I think you need a minimum of 4 bedrooms. You probably need a minimum of 2.5, prefer 3 full baths. I mean, there's some things that will make the roommate situation more tolerable, but I think the area is the most important for you. And I think you should get in your car and, spend the weekend, drive around.
Yeah, that's very true. Like, out of all the places, where do I want to live? And then and then narrow it down from there.
House hacking is awesome. It's great financials, all of these things, but damn it, it's your home. Where do you want to be?
Yeah. And I mean, you repeating that, I mean, I do have a clear picture in my mind, like somewhere more walkable, convenient, close to downtown. So
get in your car, draw a map. I mean, I envision you with the Sacramento map. It's going to be, there'll be lines around it. Like, I got to find a place in here. But you've got to go do that. Go figure out the map.
Okay. Yeah. And then like network with more people. So
you got it. You'll get there.
So Michael, I heard you like mention to people like go on YouTube and find like realtors who have YouTube channels or like and bigger pockets. So should I do that to find more agents, or should I ask?
I mean, first off, you're lucky you can ask Matt and the other agent, but that doesn't give you permission to cut the other stuff. I think there's got to be a half a dozen real estate agents in Sacramento with YouTube channels. There's got to be endless forums on bigger pockets for Sacramento. But remember, a lot of those will be kind of either investor or owner occ, and you're kind of doing both. I think Amy's got to spend the weekend in Sacramento and figure out what part of town she wants to live in. That's on Amy. That's not on anybody else.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I think, yeah, I'll drive around more. I've visited there, but yeah, like I need to visit neighborhoods specifically more
Yeah.
to see
Yeah, there's
where.
going to be some wonderful parts of town with older homes. Great, it's I think you're going to have a lot of fun. I think you're kind of focusing on the numbers and all of that, where again, it's your home. Go figure that out first. Like you're
Mm,
not going to buy a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home. Let's just get that's not going to be the answer because that's not going to be a great house hack. That
mm,
other stuff will come. Let's find the area first.
mm. Okay. All
All
right.
right.
That sounds good.
Very, very cool. Well, thank you very much. And Gabriel's the cleanup hitter bringing us home, man. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Zuber? How's everybody doing? I've talked to you before, obviously,
Yep.
a couple times, and so I've been doing your course, and I was
Yep.
one of the guys that raised your hands, thinking, well, I want to make sure I have a market. So
Perfect.
I've been from the last time we spoke. I live in Huntsville, Texas, and
Okay.
so I have it's a blessing and a curse because I have lots of options,
Right.
and part of that too comes with brings anxiety because of the fact that like what I do, as you know, I'm a general contractor as well.
Yeah.
So and I build houses, and so I can I can
You could
do
do
I can
everything.
do all that. So I'd like to try to be focused, get focused, stay focused, make sure that I'm learning what I'm supposed to be learning. I believe my market, so that's why I raised my hand. I want to kind of be one of the last ones. I didn't want to take other people's time, but I
Yeah.
believe my market is Huntsville, Texas, just so I can
Okay.
learn the market, learn the buy box thing. But it's under 50,000. It's very difficult for me to find average. I think my average is 4%. When I first started, I was getting 20 to 40 listings, and they were all between 2 and 3%. And
Mm.
so, and it's sporadic. Everything's so sporadic. So I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
that, do I stay here? Do I go somewhere else? Obviously, because of my background, I have a lot of options. I work in Houston, which is an hour and a half south of me, which is where I would love to end more down south.
Yeah.
But trying to keep the
So
wife
let's
happy and stay in
poke at
Huntsville.
this, Gabe. Yeah, let's poke at this a little bit. So how long we talked first, what, like, gosh, 90 days ago, 4 months ago,
Yes,
something
sir.
like that?
Yes, sir.
Have you, like, how big is your spreadsheet now? How long is your spread? How many houses? How many rows? Are we talking
Oh my gosh,
hundreds?
I got to scroll. It probably well, because it's such a small market.
Yeah,
Huntsville's under 50. I only have maybe about 70 houses.
that's okay.
But I've seen houses come into market. I've seen houses go out of market. I've seen houses lower prices than raise their prices, which is really weird for me.
Yeah, see, yeah,
So
learning.
I've been learning quite a bit. I've talked to 2 or 3 realtors. I found one. Some of them are really nice. Some of them were jerks. Some of them like. I mean, I was honest. Hey, I'm new. I do
Yeah,
this, and then crickets. So
yeah.
it's like I don't know if I'm going too small. I don't know. I started off one step too far ahead with my buy box, and so I was just kind of trying to understand if if Huntsville's my market. And I remember last time I talked to you, I decided to choose Huntsville just because I didn't really want to invest here, and I figured it would help me focus.
Right.
You know, um,
Yeah.
because I have so many options available. I don't want to, but it's it's been difficult to try to find lenders that I can talk to. Um, I've talked to a couple realtors. Most of them here actually in the Huntsville area because it's a college town, and it's so close to Houston. There's a lot of realtors that also rent. I mean, that also like invest.
Oh,
So
okay.
most of the realtors here, which is kind of unique, kind of cool. Yeah. So anyway, so I just want to make sure that if that's something that
Yeah. So let me ask a
maybe I
question
need to
about.
go broader, maybe I need to go a little bit more down south.
No, I think you're onto something. So you're obviously you're a little bit ahead, but it's awesome. I want to actually poke at that comment about the other agents. It sounds like some
Okay.
agents actually are investors in Huntsville. Did I hear that right?
Yes.
So what are they buying? Like when you have that conversation, what are they telling you they're buying, or what do they own?
A lot of them own closer to the college,
Okay.
and I was a little scared of that, but some of them have given me some. So more of like not so much house hacks, but you can buy a house and then rent the rooms out, so
Yeah.
to speak. Like the closer to the
Students.
college, the better. Closer for the students, the better. So some of them have guided me that way. I've told them, hey, look, I'm a new investor. I'm willing to buy one cash or something like that, but never any like, okay, let's look at these properties or whatnot.
Okay. Well, how does student housing feel to you now that you've had the conversation? You've got some network doing it. Is it grown on you, or are you still scared of it?
I know it's definitely grown on me for sure. It's
Okay.
not as scary as it was. I didn't think the whole scariness is really just because I already have a lot on my plate with construction.
Right.
And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I
of course.
wanted to kind of not add more, but hopefully slowly take away in the future.
Okay.
And so if I was able to find a good property manager, and that I could
Yes.
do all the work, then that way that'll help me alleviate some of that, having to deal with kids,
So
having to deal with.
let's keep poking at that. I think we're onto something. Do any of these real estate agents self-manage, or maybe are property managers? Don't know.
Yes. Yeah, a couple of them. I've only talked about 4 of them. And again, it's a small town, so there's only like
Yeah.
6 or 7 of them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think you take your list and your activity, and you start to dig into what would be a good, college roommates for whatever it is, student housing. Sorry, name escaped me. I think you poke at that. I think you'll see the returns are better than 4%. I think you do get property manager because, again, you could pay for that service. I think you start asking them questions like, how do you deal with lease? How do you deal with summer? Like, what happens in the summer? All the kids leave. What's going on? Yeah, I think you start to refine your search, like how close to the college, parking situation, rooms to bathrooms. I think you start refining your search and you start going down a level. So I think you've done the baseline. Now it's like, okay, now let's go. Okay, student housing close to the college. Let's go on that math, because I'm going to hope the return's better than 4%. Because if it's 4%, keep the money in the bank, make 5, or treasuries make 5%. Right?
Yeah. And that's where I started. Everything was 2 to 3%, and that was going to brand new houses. So I refined
Makes
my
sense.
search a little bit, lowered it down from 230,000 to, which was below the median. I kept it below the median, and then now I'm at 180,000 or whatever, just to make kind of some sort of sense to try to reach that 4 or 5%, and then play with the numbers on the buy box side. But again, I'm not. That means that we could talk about that next week as far as the buy box and the comfortableness there. But just wanted to make sure that more so like, hey, is this market decent? I mean, I've heard you say a lot that you want to stay away from smaller markets, but
again, I don't know, Gabriel, if you're going to invest there, but I think what you've uncovered is if you're going to be in Huntsville, or is it Huntsville?
Yes, Huntsville, Texas.
Okay. Huntsville, Texas, Huntsville, Alabama, Huntsville. You're going to have to rent to student housing. That's where the cash flow is. Again, I'm not telling you that you're going to do that, but you know what? Let's keep kicking that rock. Let's go dig in and see if the returns are better than 2%. Like, are we going to do student housing where it's one person per bedroom? Or are we going to buy bunk beds? Or let's go push on that a little bit. Let's get more experience and skill. Let's figure out what property management costs. Let's figure out what insurance costs are. I'm going to guess student rental insurance is higher. I have no idea. I've never done it. Let's go have those conversations. That feels like the next good activity for you.
Okay.
Does that make
Define
sense?
more specifics on.
Yeah. Basically, all right, I got Huntsville. It seems like average stuff in Huntsville is 2%, but student housing could be better. Let's go see how much better, but let's go figure out what we don't know. Property management, insurance, what is the lease? What happens in the summer? There's more. Now that we know we're in Huntsville or we're student housing, we got some more work to do.
Okay. I can do that.
Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. We're over 2 hours, but there was a question about areas. I think, how do I get to the comments? Oh, here we go. There was a question about area. Somebody had to leave. I thought I would answer that. We'll do that more in the buy box conversation. In the beginning, like people talk about ABC, ABCDEF areas. Again, I don't really think about that up front. I want to know where to and where not to invest. A lot of people will call, hey, it's a war zone. Clearly, you can call that an F or whatever. I typically try to focus on affordable homes, kind of middle market, not luxury, not, war zone falling down. I have not found it being profitable looking at acreage. Like, hey, you got this cute little house on 5 acres. I have not found that in my market to make sense, cash flow wise. But yeah, I don't really think about area to that earlier comment. I do think about condition, right? A is turnkey, B is move-in ready, but not updated. So it's safe, it's secure, it functions, but it's not updated. And C is, full remodel. I do think about that, right? So that's how I use conditions, at least in the beginning. Let's see if there were any other comments coming. And then I got to get on to Mr. Dan Bird in the stock market. Let's see. Okay, question answered. Okay, we got that. Okay, some people had to run. We got that question. House hacking, cool. All right. I think we got everything. I think. All right. Well, guys, thank you very much for being here. I hope everybody who raised their hands got their questions and activities. I hope everybody who didn't ask a question learned a little bit something. I will look to have the next session scheduled. I'll send it out an email. I have people to add. I'm thinking next Friday or Saturday, right? We won't do it on Sunday. I won't repeat days. It'll either be Friday or Saturday. I need to go have a conversation, honestly, with Olivia and figure out which day is better for us. She drives the schedule. So hopefully I'll know later today. Any other just quick last minute questions? Somebody been waiting 2 hours, just wanted to ask. You can raise their hands. I'll call on you. Going once, going twice. Oh, there we go. Sergey, Sergey, sorry. Sergey.
Hello. So, my case, I live in North San Jose, Valley, QA engineer. Also very new in this area, and not area. I mean, I'm already 10 years here, but I in property investing. We bought our house here in 2016, and since there we try to find something around not possible. We make some friends in different areas like Jacksonville, like Greenville, like Sacramento. Also, they are realtors. They recommend something, but we still don't know what to do. With my wife, we participated several meetups as well. Try to research some areas, and always missing opportunities. So kind of we don't know what to do.
So the good news is I'm going to give you permission to pick one market. So hold on.
Mm-hmm.
So what we need to figure out for you is what market are you going to be comfortable learning in, not buying in, learning in. So learning in a market, Sergey, often helps if you're close by, often helps if you have a network, you know people. So for example, Sergey, I live in Mountain View, which is like 15 minutes from San Jose.
Yep.
I learned the Bay Area, even though I could never buy here, but I learned it. I understood rents and property management and conditions. And then after it took me a year, it should have taken 6 months. I took that skill set and I went to a cheaper area. I believe folks like I was, and like it seems you are now, where you're all excited and you're, hey, I got Jacksonville and Greenville and Sacramento. It doesn't matter because you haven't done the work, right? You haven't learned the skill. You haven't learned the golf swing, the second language, the musical instrument. So you have to give yourself permission to do the work. So my answer to doing the work was, I'm going to look in the Bay Area. I know I'm not going to buy here. It doesn't cash flow. I don't gamble. I don't bet on appreciation, but I'm going to learn it. Lots of real estate meetups, lots of other investors. You can drive to properties, see open houses. You could talk to agents and this, that, and the other. It's going to take you 4 months, 5 months. But at the end of it, you're going to say, hey, in East Palo Alto, the average yield is negative 19%. But at least you've done the work and you can say that intelligently. Then at some point in the future, probably Q1 of next year, you and your wife are going to have a conversation that goes something like this. Okay, great. We know the Bay Area. We can't invest here. What should we do? Should we look at a market we could drive to? Fresno, Sacramento, Bakersfield? Or do we have friends, family, college folks, cousins in some other area that we like to go to? But that conversation, Sergey, that's for 5 months from now.
Mhm.
You've got to get the habits, the routine first. So I'm going to give you permission just to do the work. Honey, we're going to look in the Bay Area. We're not going to buy here. We're just going to learn. We're going to learn how to talk to agents and brokers. We're going to go see remodels. We're going to understand San Jose versus Morgan Hill versus Fremont. It's good. You're going to go through a process. And again, it's not a waste of time. You're building a discipline, a routine that you can then repeat in some market you know nothing about. You've been here 10 years and it'll take you 4 months, 5 months. When you go somewhere else, you don't want to add the complexity of learning the skill and the new area. You're going to bring the skill with you. So that's what I give you permission to do. Focus local, even though you know you won't buy here.
Okay, sounds good.
Make sense?
Yep.
All right. Well, guys, thank you very, very much. I appreciate you. I will let you know in the next day or so. Round two will likely be buy box. Hopefully, we'll follow up with you. Many of you have action items. So it's up to you. You got to do the work. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.